Most fish show stress, fear, or aggression when something is wrong. This one shows nothing at all. What if I told you there is a fish whose greatest strength is also the reason it fails so often in aquariums? A fish that doesn't survive through aggression, speed, or brute force, but through something far more fragile and far more rare, environmental awareness. A fish that doesn't rush into color, doesn't demand attention, and doesn't fight to prove dominance the way most African cichlids do in a typical African cichlid tank. A fish that waits, observes, measures its surroundings over time. This is the Star Sapphire Cichlid, scientifically known as Placidochromis phenochilus. And if you've ever seen one individual glow like a living galaxy, while another slowly fades into pale uncertainty under the same water parameters, the same food, and the same cichlid tank, this video will finally explain why. Because star sapphires do not live by numbers alone. They live by confidence. And confidence is something most aquariums, even well-maintained Malawi aquariums, never truly provide. But before we talk about tanks, food, or color, there's something far more important that has to come first. Something almost no one ever explains. What this fish actually experiences. Not what it looks like to us, what it feels like to exist as a star sapphire. And once you understand where that feeling comes from, everything else starts to make sense. To understand this fish, you have to leave the glass box behind and return to the open sands of northern Lake Malawi, the heart of the Malawi cichlid ecosystem. Not the chaotic rock piles most people imagine when they hear African cichlids, but wide, exposed sandy plains where sunlight penetrates deep into the water and there is nowhere to hide. No rock walls to duck behind, no tight crevices to claim, just open space, soft sand, scattered shells, and the constant presence of light. In this world, aggression is inefficient. Chasing wastes energy. Fighting draws attention. Survival belongs to fish that can exist calmly in full view of everything. This environment didn't reward speed, it rewarded awareness. And this is the first hidden rule of the Star Sapphire, a rule shared by only a small group of Malawi cichlids. But this rule doesn't stay in the lake, it follows the fish home. It doesn't just see its environment, it feels it. Vibration through sand, pressure from passing bodies, micro shadows from overhead movement, even subtle changes in light angle. This fish is built to read a wide, open world, which means in an aquarium, especially a brightly lit African cichlid tank, it reads everything. Filter vibration, glass reflections, sudden shadows from people walking by, strong, chaotic flow, bright backgrounds, bare-bottom cichlid tanks that remove sensory feedback. None of these things look like problems on a test kit, but to a star sapphire, they are information overload. And when that overload never stops, something else begins to fail quietly. When the information never settles, neither does the fish. And this is where the next mistake usually feels harmless. This is the environment that shaped the star sapphire. Here, it evolved alongside sand-sifting species, trailing behind larger fish and feeding on small invertebrates, insect larvae, and microcrustaceans disturbed from the substrate. It is not a hunter that explodes into motion. It is an opportunist, a precision feeder, a species built for efficiency, not excess. It feeds lightly and often, never gorging, never rushing, because in open water every movement is visible and every mistake is punished. This feeding strategy follows the star sapphire into captivity, and this is where many keepers unknowingly begin to work against proper cichlid care. Heavy feeding schedules, protein-loaded diets, and chaotic feeding frenzies push the body faster than the mind can adapt. Growth accelerates, waste increases. Water stability in the Malawi aquarium begins to fluctuate, and internal stress rises long before any visible symptom appears. The fish still eats, still swims, still looks alive. But this is where the timeline starts to matter. Confidence quietly erodes, and here's the part most people miss. The damage doesn't show today, it shows months later. And this delay is what makes the next part so dangerous. Star sapphires do not react on a short clock. Stress in this species is delayed. A mistake you make this month often shows up 2 or 3 months later, when the connection is already forgotten. This is why so many keepers say nothing changed, but the fish declined, even in long-running cichlid tanks. Something did change. It just happened earlier than you remember. And this delayed response is why chasing fixes almost always makes things worse. More food, more changes, more adjustments. Each one feels helpful. Each one resets the fish's internal map. And every reset tells the fish the future is uncertain. And this is exactly why color is such a trap. Star sapphires do not invest in color without confidence. Color for this species is not decoration, it is a long-term biological commitment. Metallic blues and reflective speckling are expensive traits. In the wild, early brightness makes you visible across open sand. You don't invest in that unless the environment feels safe for weeks and months ahead. This rule does not disappear in aquariums or Malawi aquariums built for display. Early flashes of color are often reactions, not success. Real color arrives slowly and then it stays. This is why chasing color with lighting tricks, supplements, or overfeeding so often backfires in African cichlid care. You end up with size without security, brightness without stability, and a fish that looks impressive briefly before quietly collapsing. And not every fish responds to pressure the same way. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Not every fish sold as a Star Sapphire is genetically equal. Some lines glow early. They look incredible in shop tanks. But under stress, they fade. True phenochilus matures slowly. It holds color under pressure, which means the best fish is often the one that looks the most boring in the store. But genetics alone don't decide the outcome. Behaviorally, Star Sapphires exist within silent hierarchies. They are not aggressive in the traditional sense, but they are not passive either. Dominance is communicated through posture, positioning, and calm control of open space. The fish that holds a center without rushing, the fish that does not flinch, the fish that moves deliberately rather than defensively. This is why male-to-female ratio in a Malawi cichlid tank is not just a number. It's a pressure distribution system. One male with multiple females allows focus to diffuse. Two males, even without fighting, can collapse the system by creating constant unresolved tension. No torn fins, no chasing, just pressure that never releases. And pressure is what this species reacts to most. And when that pressure has nowhere to go, the tank itself becomes the problem. In overcrowded or mismatched cichlid tanks, this language is drowned out. Fast, hyperactive fish reset the Star Sapphire's awareness again and again. Even peaceful but erratic species can cause long-term stress. When Star Sapphires cannot communicate through their natural social signals, they withdraw. They hover, they stay low, they lose presence. And presence is everything to this species. This is why tank design matters far more than most people realize. Star Sapphire tanks are not meant to be rock mazes. They are not Mbuna battlegrounds. They are stages, wide sand beds, open swimming lanes, rock structures pushed to the edges, used as visual breaks rather than territorial fortresses. The goal is not decoration. The goal is visual calm within the cichlid tank. But even the calmest layout can fail if the space itself is wrong. Tank size here is not about luxury. It is about psychology. In the wild, their world is expansive. In captivity, compressed space collapses their social system. A large 6-foot aquarium is not a recommendation. It is a requirement for the fish to function normally in a Malawi aquarium. Without it, even perfect water chemistry cannot compensate. And water chemistry itself follows the same rule. Star sapphires originate from alkaline, mineral-rich environments defined by extreme stability. In aquariums, especially African cichlid tanks, stability matters more than hitting exact numbers. Minor deviations are tolerated. Sudden changes are not. Rising nitrates, cloudy water, micro fluctuations, even inconsistent lighting schedules quietly undermine confidence long before disease appears. This species is sensitive not because it is weak, but because it is perceptive. And when stability finally locks in, something rare happens. Breeding reflects this perfectly. These fish are maternal mouth brooders, but spawning does not occur simply because parameters are correct. It happens when the social environment feels safe. A confident male clears a patch of sand. He does not terrorize. He does not chase relentlessly. He displays with calm certainty. Females observe over time. When spawning happens, it is quiet, uneventful. The female collects the eggs and disappears. For weeks, she eats nothing. Any instability can cause her to abort. That's not fragility, that's logic. Life is only worth caring when the future feels predictable. But breeding isn't the first sign you should be watching for. So how do you know if you're doing it right? Not by color alone, not by growth, but by behavior. Does the fish change position during the day? Does it hold open water calmly? Does it approach food without hesitation? Or does it stay in the same corner, active only at night, eating but unsure? These are the signals that matter in real cichlids care. And they tell you the truth long before test kits do. And by the time those signals are ignored, the ending is usually quiet. Most Star Sapphire failures are not dramatic. Tanks do not crash overnight. Instead, the fish fade, color never fully develops, behavior flattens, growth becomes uneven. The keeper checks parameters, switches foods, adjusts lighting, and wonders why nothing works. The mistake was made months earlier when the environment was allowed to remain subtly stressful. Too many dominant fish, too much visual noise, too little open space, too much interference. Star sapphires punish impatience quietly. They do not scream, they do not attack, they simply refuse to thrive. And that brings us to the uncomfortable truth about this fish. This is why this fish is not for everyone. Not because it's difficult, but because it refuses to perform on demand. If you constantly change your tank, if you need instant results, if silence makes you uncomfortable, this fish will expose that. But if you can slow down, observe, and build a system instead of chasing outcomes, something rare happens. The fish settles. It becomes present. It glides through open water with calm authority, glowing not because it is forced to, but because it chooses to. Keeping a star sapphire is not about domination, instant color, or quick rewards. It is about patience, restraint, and respect for an evolutionary strategy built on confidence rather than aggression. And if this video changed how you see this fish, don't leave quietly. Think about what you've noticed in your own tank, the stillness, the hesitation, the subtle shifts you may have ignored. And if you want more documentaries like this, subscribe to Dark Cichlids. Because here, we don't rush brilliance. We don't force outcomes. We build environments where truth has time to surface. This channel isn't about showing fish. It's about exposing the laws that govern them. Laws written by pressure, silence, and patience. If you're new here, don't subscribe for entertainment. Subscribe to learn why rushing destroys systems, why numbers lie, and why confidence always comes before color. This is the descent into Malawi, where Trophius punish impatience, where Frontosa rule the deep stillness, where Dovi hunt without apology, and where every species obeys rules older than glass, older than technology, older than us. This is Dark Cichlids. We don't chase brilliance. We wait until it's earned. Knowledge swims deeper here. And before you leave, one more thing. If you've ever wondered where cichlid names actually come from, why some names stick, why others are wrong, and why the fish you think you know might not be what you think it is, I strongly recommend watching the video appearing in the top right corner right now. And yes, some of the names you've trusted for years might be completely wrong. Click it. Let's meet there.